Welcome back, college football and black and gold fans, to another episode of the Touchdown Black and Gold Vlog, the only channel where we examine, discuss, celebrate, and honor all things college football across the entire college football landscape. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to you and yours. I'm your usual host, Blair Parks, and I've been away for about a 3-week hiatus, but it's great to be back with you once again. Christmas Day is merely days away, so that can mean only one thing for college football fanatics like you and me. College football bowl season is in full effect and upon us once again. It is the most wonderful time of the year, truly. And on today's episode, I have a very special episode for you guys. I've decided, rather than doing what I've done in seasons past here on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, I picked my 4 favorite bowl games to preview and predict with you and yours. So the first bowl game up today is, because they're going to be in date as far as kickoff, today's episode, I will give you my 2023 Cotton Bowl preview and prediction. The Cotton Bowl is going to be kicking off next Friday, December 29th, down there in Jerry World in Arlington, Texas, between number 7 Ohio State of the Big Ten versus number 9 Missouri, the Tigers from the SEC. Now, before I say anything else, I just want to give a lot of props, shout out, much love and respect to all of you. Thank you for making this season yet another smashing success for the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. Views are up, subscribers and subscriptions are also up, rates, likes, views, comments, everything is trending in the right direction, but I still need your help. I want to get the word out there, so let's please continue to, get momentum. Please tell your fellow friends, your college football fanatics, coworkers, family members to check me out here in the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, because I want to find more college football fans just like you. So thank you for everything that you've done for the channel. Without you, none of this would be possible. It is an absolute pleasure and joy for me to be here with you, sharing my love for all things college football. It has been an absolute stellar season on the channel here once again. And yes, I will be back next season for season 4 of the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. All right, so let's go ahead and get back to my Cotton Bowl preview and prediction. Already kind of set the stage here between who this is going to pit against each other, and we have a classic matchup here of the Big Two being the SEC and the Big Ten SEC, however you want to word it. And I am really, really intrigued and absolutely stoked to watch this bowl game. It's when I saw this matchup unveiled on Selection Sunday, you better believe I got pretty excited. My entire body was getting a little bit excited. I'm not going to expand on that any longer. But between these two teams, Ohio State and Missouri, this will be the 13th meeting all time between these two teams. Ohio State has a commanding lead in this matchup. They've won 10 times to Missouri's once, with one tie sprinkled in there through their history. Currently, when you look in Vegas, Ohio State is a 1-point underdog. Now, initially out of the gate, they did open up as, I believe, a 6.5-point favorite. So money has gone towards Missouri in this matchup, and I'll explain to you why here a little bit later in the episode. So before I go ahead and share with you my matchups to watch, my players to watch, bring you up to speed on who is going to be playing and unfortunately who's not going to be playing due to opt-outs for the NFL or players hitting the transfer portal, I want to go ahead and bring you up to speed and remind you, how did we get here? How did these two teams arrive at this New Year's Six bowl game down there in Arlington? Well, Ohio State, excellent season. They went 11-1 overall, 8-1 in Big Ten conference play. Big wins during the season. At Notre Dame, one of the best non-conference victories of anybody in the entire nation. And then they did defeat Penn State inside the Horseshoe in Columbus. And they lost yet again for a third straight time to their rival, that team up north, the Michigan Wolverines. Now, so Missouri. Now, Ohio State, first of all, we expected big things from this team. And I think it's safe to say they expected big things from themselves. So being 11-1 overall, that's a great season, okay? But unfortunately, some Ohio State fans or some believers are under the impression that this has been kind of a letdown, disappointing season for Ohio State, simply to the fact that they lost to Michigan yet again and Coach Khaki, Jim Harbaugh. So, but overall, you go 11-1, that's a great season, okay? Now, Missouri, on the other hand, really kind of came out of nowhere, all right? Overall, Missouri went 10-2, 6-2 in SEC conference play. Big wins. They also had a big win in non-conference season over Kansas State, the defending Big 12 conference champions. And during conference play, they did defeat Tennessee. Their two losses came against LSU at home and down in Athens between the hedges against Georgia. So Missouri's two losses to legit teams. I mean, we know how dominant Georgia has been the last two seasons. And Jaden Daniels, the quarterback for LSU, just happened to collect the hardware for being this year's Heisman Trophy winner. All right, so no shame for what both Ohio State and Missouri have accomplished this season. And another reason why I am so excited for this matchup, if this is your first time watching me here on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, let me give you a little bit of background on myself. I was born and raised in Northwest Illinois, which kind of explains my love for all things Iowa and the passion I have for the Hawkeyes. But currently, since 2015, I have been a resident of the Show Me State in Missouri. So as you can bet, a lot of the locals around here are very excited for this matchup. It's been a great season for the Tigers. So that's how these two teams got here. All right, this is what they did to deserve a shot to play in the prestigious Cotton Bowl. One of my favorite bowls to watch year in and year out, by the way. It really is. There's so much tradition in the Cotton Bowl. I mean, it's something that if you're a historian like myself, you have to go ahead and appreciate it. All the teams, Heisman Trophy winners, coaches, players who have took part in this prestigious and historic bowl game. It's really something to be proud of for these two programs. Now, let's go ahead. I'm going to bring you up to speed on, unfortunately, who's not going to be playing, all right? Unfortunately, we've seen this happen. A lot of these players have chosen to opt out for the NFL draft, or at the conclusion of the regular season, some of these players hit the transfer portal. Some are still in the portal and could technically and legally still play if they haven't committed to another team. But some of them have already been in the transfer portal and have found a landing spot. So those who have done that will not be playing in this year's Cotton Bowl. So let me tell you some of the big names and big players who will not be participating in this bowl game. First, for Ohio State, wide receiver Julian Fleming, who really has been kind of the second fiddle to Heisman Trophy finalist, the stud wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr., who I think is the biggest playmaker in college football this season. He's been an excellent Number 2 wide receiver has Julian Fleming, kind of been in the shadow of Marvin Harrison Jr., but they're going to absolutely miss his play during this bowl game. He is in the transfer portal. He has not committed to anyone quite yet, but I do not expect him to play in this game. So Ohio State is down one of their main offensive weapons. Another offensive weapon that's in the transfer portal is running back Chip Trayanum. Chip Trayanum really was the number 2 running back the entire season for Ohio State, but while number 1 running back Travion Henderson was out for, I believe, 3 games because of injury, Chip did a very good job filling in for him. He is in the portal, and I believe he has not yet committed to a new program, so do not expect him to play. Now, the biggest loss for Ohio State, and this is one that, it's going to be tough to replace, all right? Their quarterback Kyle McCord. Shortly after the end of the regular season, he entered the transfer portal and has since committed to play from here out at Syracuse with the Orange. So he will absolutely not be available for this bowl game. So that's one of the main question marks for Ohio State is, how are you going to replace our starting quarterback who has started all 12 games during this season? And I'll get to that here in a little bit. So a huge loss potentially there for Ohio State to lose your most important player, your field general. All right? Now for Missouri, as far as who won't be playing, it's really going to be all hands on deck for Missouri. None of their major power players or contributors, at least as this point, here it's Friday the 22nd of December, as of today, no big-time Missouri players have announced they are going to either opt out or have entered the transfer portal, which absolutely is going to be a huge benefit and key for Missouri. So who is going to be playing? All right, kind of the opposite of this. Replacing starting quarterback Kyle McCord is going to be quarterback Devin Brown for Ohio State, who will be making his first ever start. Now, preseason, he was projected to emerge as the starting quarterback for Ohio State. Kyle McCord did edge him out. Devin Brown has seen some action during this season, but as I just mentioned, this will be his first official start, and it's actually the best time for this to happen. It's not like you've had 1 week to prep, to scout, to take the majority of the number 1 reps with the offense. They have had those extra 14 practices, so he's going to come out the best he can as far as from a preparation standpoint for this bowl game. Now, who else is going to be playing for Ohio State? And as of today, it seems like stud wide receiver, the aforementioned Heisman Trophy finalist, Marvin Harrison Jr., is indeed planning on playing in this bowl game. It has not been made official either way, but nothing has come out officially saying he is going to opt out. He is eligible to enter the NFL draft. There has been no official news of this yet, but it does sound like he does intend to play. So that would be a huge, huge addition and key for Ohio State if this playmaker, the playmaker in this game, I believe, no disrespect, this is going to be a game full of playmakers, and I'll get to that here next, that if he does and perhaps play this game, it could change everything, all right? And as I already mentioned, who's playing for Missouri? It's everybody's on board, including stud running back Corey Schrader, who was second this season in rushing, total rushing yards in the nation, first team All-SEC. He did finish top 10 in Heisman Trophy voting. That's right, I do my own stunts here on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. No edits, no redos, no nothing like that, all right? So, yeah, everybody from Missouri is intending to play. And for the most part, checking the injury report as I did prior to coming on air, it's going to be everyone's basically going to be available who needs to be available. All right. Now, matchups to watch. And this is a game full of matchups. And once again, this is why you're going to see why I am so excited. If you're a fan of Ohio State or Missouri, or if you're a fan of the Big Ten or SEC, but if you're just a fan of college football in general, you've got to be excited about this matchup, because here's why. So matchups that I believe are going to decide this game for both Ohio State or Missouri. Matchups to watch. First of all, I can't wait to watch that Ohio State rush defense, which overall not bad. They are 22nd in the nation. They give up 112.5 yards per game. That's pretty stingy. But they're going to be going up against the aforementioned running back from Missouri, Corey Schrader, who himself, he averages 124 rushing yards per game. So that's going to be a huge matchup to watch right there. Another matchup that really intrigues me to watch is that Missouri passing attack. And this Missouri team can attack the field vertically down the field. They can. They have some stud wide receivers of themselves. They're 29th in the nation. They pass for 272.9 yards per game. Not too shabby at all. But they're going to be going up against that vaunted Studley Ohio State pass defense, which only yields 147.5 yards per game through the air, which is number one in the entire nation. So I cannot wait to watch that. It's good on good right there. My third of four matchups to watch is that Missouri D-line against the Ohio State O-line. If you haven't watched Missouri's defensive line this season, guys, I'm going to let you in a little bit of a secret. They are scary good and scary quick. They know how to get to a quarterback. And when a team has to drop back and they have to pass when they have to pass, not necessarily when they want to pass, but if they get behind the chains, this Missouri defensive line, they pin their ears back and they get after quarterbacks. So I cannot wait to watch this Missouri D-line against that Ohio State offensive line. I mean, I'm a Big Ten guy. I'm an Iowa fan. What am I going to be paying attention to? You got it. Exactly, the matchup in the trenches. And whoever wins this matchup consistently between the Missouri D-line and the Ohio State O-line, that really could by itself be the deciding factor in this bowl game. I think it's going to be that important. Now, players to watch. And I'm going to be watching a lot of these cats. There are a lot of primetime players on display on the field for our enjoyment in this game. Let's start off with the wide receivers. And I'm talking wide receivers on both squads. I've already mentioned Ohio State, and they're Ohio State. You know what they're going to have. They are always going to have one of, if not the best wide receiver room in the nation. That's what Coach Ryan Day has done, just like Urban Meyer did before him, and what Coach Jim Tressel did before both of those two. They are always going to come prepared to any fight with stud wide receivers on the perimeter. You've got Marvin Harrison Jr. potentially playing, and Emeka Egbuka, another one of those stud wide receivers for Ohio State. Now on the Missouri sideline, you've got two studs as well. You've got wide receivers Luther Burden III and Theo Weiss. Now, most everybody knows about the talent of the Missouri wide receiver room as well, and you should. Luther Burden III is an absolute playmaker. Wide receiver, kick returner on punts, I believe, not kickoffs. But when you look at the numbers this season, I believe he only trailed Marvin Harrison Jr. by 14 yards total reception. So he was right there with the best wide receiver in the nation. I mean, they were hand in hand, lockstep together. And Theo Weiss, if you haven't watched this transfer in from Oklahoma this season, this guy has got like glue on those gloves. If it's a catchable ball, he's going to catch it. He reminds me a lot of my favorite wide receiver watching in the NFL. I mean, this is when I used to watch the NFL. No offense against Jerry Rice, but if I ever had one pass to throw, if it's 4th and goal from the 7-yard line, and I've got one play, one pass, one play, if there was one receiver that I'd be picking to throw it to, no offense, Jerry Rice, it's going to be Chris Carter from the Vikings. And this guy is exactly that in Theo Weiss. You need a first down. You got to move those chains. He's the man to feed, all right? I cannot wait to watch these wide receivers all over the field next Friday night. I am so pumped for this. Now, also, and this really gets me going, is the tight ends that are on display for both teams. Ohio State, you have Cade Stover, one of the best wide receivers in the nation. And then for Missouri, a freshman who I really like, even though I believe he only had 17 receptions this season, but 3 of those went for touchdowns. I'm talking about Brett Norfleet. And the way that I think these tight ends are really going to be major factors in how this game comes out. Obviously, you can tell. I expect a lot of offense. There is going to be some defense played, but this is going to be primarily an offensive kind of game. You're going to have to score points to win. It's not going to be like watching an Iowa football game, okay? And these two tight ends are really, really going to go a long way in determining the final outcome. Because, as I just mentioned, each side knows that there's wide receivers that they have to covet and cover on defense. So what is that going to potentially do? Exactamundo. It's going to open up those tight ends underneath for those intermediate passes. And I cannot wait to watch these tight ends work out there. Next is I really, really can't wait to watch the Missouri quarterback Brady Cook. Not necessarily from a passing standpoint, but what Brady Cook can do is he is completely able to extend plays with his legs. And if you've watched Missouri this season, there'll be several times during the game where Coach Eli Drinkwitz will call Brady Cook's number, a design quarterback run. But if things do break down, or if Brady Cook sees the opportunity, he will absolutely tuck, run, and turn it upfield. So I cannot wait to see what he can do against that vaunted Ohio State defense. And if Ohio State can keep him in the pocket and limit the damage he could do with his legs. All right. So now my prediction for this game. All right. And I've kind of been on the fence. I've moved right. I've moved left in this. But I've come to a conclusion. All right. When I look at these two teams, I want to start off with a big one that affects any team this time of year for a bowl matchup is the motivational factor. Do we really want to be here? Are we disappointed with how the season turned out? Are we really going to come out motivated? Do we have the personnel in place? Do we have injury issues? Has there been coaching upheaval? So those are the things I want to start with. And I look at it from a motivational factor. I have to give the edge to Missouri because you can tell Missouri wants to be here. I mean, this is the biggest game in my opinion. This is the biggest game for Missouri since the Big 12 championship game back in 2007 when Missouri faced off with Oklahoma. Coming into that game, Missouri was ranked number 1, if memory serves. All they simply had to do was defeat Oklahoma, and they would have then qualified and been in the BCS National Championship game. So it's been a long time that a game of this caliber has been played by Missouri. And plus, most everybody picked them to finish second to last in the SEC East this year, just simply in front of Vanderbilt. And here they are 10-2, and it's been a great season for them. So I believe that motivationally, they are going to come out with that chip on their shoulder and with that edge. And that shows right there with their lack of opt-outs and how many of their big-time playmakers have not entered the transfer portal. Now, I'm not saying Ohio State could come out a little bit going through the motions, but I just question where they are mentally. After losing for a third straight time to Michigan, where exactly are they mentally? Are they going to come out motivated and inspired? Do they really want to be there? When I think a lot of people, not myself personally, a lot of people believe for Ohio State it needed to be college football playoff or bust this season. So I'm not quite sure where exactly Ohio State is. All right. But I do hope both teams come out ready to get it on, take the field inspired, a lot of effort, a lot of inspiration, because I want to see the best bowl game that I can. All right. But I just give that motivational factor to Missouri. Now, Ohio State, I think if Marvin Harrison Jr. plays and if Devin Brown simply takes care of the ball, all right, if he doesn't turn it over, if he doesn't make those mistakes, I do think Ohio State can stay in this game. They can keep it close. Their defense is very, very underrated. I believe they're the second best overall defense in the nation, and people kind of forget to mention that. All right, you've got Penn State, Ohio State, and then I believe Iowa might be third, or Michigan might be there. I mean, all these Big Ten powerhouses that this year are more defensive powerhouses, not offensive powerhouses. So a lot is really riding on Devin Brown, quarterback for Ohio State, making that first start. And what a big-time pressure cooker of a situation to make your first start in. So, and one thing that, I don't know, I'm not what you call a superstitious guy. I'm not. But I do understand why some people are. And the next stat, it's tough. And if you're somebody who looks into these things, it's going to start to get on your head playing those mind games with yourselves or with others. But Ohio State overall is 2-12 versus SEC opponents in bowl games. Yikes. Now, yes, a lot of those have been against Alabama, as of late. And if don't forget, Ohio State under Urban Meyer did defeat Alabama and Nick Saban to get to the national title game once. So it's not like it's been, no success whatsoever for Ohio State. Okay, but 2-12 versus the SEC in bowl games. Woo, that's a tough one. So who do I like in this game? I've got, obviously, my heart is always going to want to pull for a fellow Big Ten program, but I've got to go with my head on this one. I could see either team winning, and it's really tough. I am not going to be rooting against either one of these two teams. I have no issue with either the Ohio State or Missouri program or the fans. Nothing. I got nothing but respect for them both. But I do just happen to think that Missouri is going to find a way to win this game. And it gets back really to that motivation, all right? Even if Marvin Harrison Jr. doesn't play, and I've already mentioned some of the other players who will not be available for Ohio State, that Missouri still has a chance to score a victory over an elite, one of the college football upper echelon programs in the nation. Now, if that happens, let's say Marvin Harrison Jr. doesn't play, all right, and Missouri does in fact win this game, as I think they will, with or without Marvin Harrison Jr., that I think a lot of individuals will say, Missouri won because some of the Ohio State players didn't play. Okay, I get it, but that's not true. Because if you look at talent, from a talent perspective only, I mean, this is Ohio State, okay? And I know I've got the Ohio State fans tagged in this video and the Missouri fans tagged. And please, I want to hear from you. Please comment below. I can't wait to hear your takes on my analysis, my insight, my opinion. But even if that happens, I mean, you look at talent, and talent alone, it's always going to be more talent on the Ohio State team than compared to Missouri. Ohio State has 4- and 5-star guys aplenty. It's simply plug and play. Now, yes, maybe some of those guys don't have the reps or the on-field time, but talent-wise, Ohio State is the more talented team, all right? But still, I think that would be a huge success and victory for Missouri if they do happen to win this game. So that's my prediction. I think Missouri gets it done. Please, as I said, I always ask for and encourage and welcome your comments. Please get involved. Let your college football voice be heard. Exercise your right. I can't wait to hear from you, fans of the Tigers, Bucknut fans. Please get involved. Like, rate, comment, share. Please subscribe. And via your comments, I do promise I will get back to each and every one of you much sooner than later individually. So please hit me up, get involved, comment below, or subscribe. So that's it, guys. That is today's episode, my 2023 Cotton Bowl preview and prediction. My next episode or my next bowl game up, expect when you wake up Tuesday morning. By then, posted will be my 2023 Peach Bowl preview and prediction episode between number 10 Penn State and number 11 Ole Miss. Can't wait to break down that bowl game. And you talk about a difference in styles right there. And as you know, when it comes down to college football, styles make fights, especially when they are opposing styles. So please check that out. And any other previous episodes, thank you for your time, your attention. Merry Christmas and happy holidays once again to you and yours. I'll see you on Tuesday. And thank you for joining me on this episode of the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. Adios. Bye-bye.